Good morning Year 4 and welcome to Thursday's literacy lesson. So we are going to continue working in our writing books, which is the one that looks like this. So we started that yesterday, didn't we? And well done for all of your great work. You worked fantastic and you only did that page that I asked for, which is fantastic. So when we are doing our learning today, I want us to only focus on page 5. Don't go any further. It's just the ones that I've highlighted in pink. So we're going to be looking at questions 4 and questions 5 for today's learning, okay? Please don't go on to the next part because that will be tomorrow's lesson. Okay, so before we start our learning, let's just go through our spag starter this morning. So I'm going to start with my spelling, okay? So I want you to spot my spelling mistake. Have a really close look on your devices now. What is my spelling mistake? It's a bit of a tricky one today. Okay, so let's have a look. It says the hotel had a big Deb. What's a Deb? A big Deb? Why would the hotel have a big Deb? What do you think is wrong with that sentence? There's something wrong, and it's actually something that happens quite a lot in Year 4 when we're writing. So it says the hotel has a big Deb. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's what it's supposed to say. What do you think at home? What do you think that this is supposed to say? Because it doesn't make sense, does it? The hotel has a big Deb. That doesn't make sense. What do you think at home? What do you think it could be? The hotel has a big... I think I know what it was supposed to be now. I think it was supposed to be bed. But I got my B's and my D's mixed up again. So the hotel has a big bed. That's what it was supposed to say, a big bed. That makes sense now. But we've got to remember that which way our B's and our D's go. And you can see here, first comes the bat, then comes the ball. So B before D. Okay, so I've got to get my pink pen out again. And I need to put spelling, SP, just above there, because that's my spelling error, isn't it? And I've got my B's and my D's mixed up. So first comes the bat, B, then comes the ball. Okay, so I've got, there's my bat, there's my ball. Okay, for B. And when we talk about D, so I'm going to put E in the middle. When we talk about D, first comes the drum, then comes the stick. So there's my drum and there's my stick. Okay, so first comes the bat, then the ball, first comes the drum, then the stick. And that's how we remember which way our B's and D's go, because sometimes we get them mixed up and it actually doesn't make any sense at all. So that's my spelling completed for today. Let's move on to punctuation. So I want you to identify where the missing punctuation needs to go. Here is my sentence. Would you like some tea? Okay, so I'm asking a question. Would you like some tea? Now there is a key piece of punctuation that is missing from there. If I'm asking a question, what piece of punctuation do I need to put at the very end of my sentence? Have a think at home. What is my missing punctuation? Okay, so well done if you did get that at home, and it is a question mark. Whenever we ask a question, we should always have a question mark at the end of our sentence to show that that is a question. So I'm going to use my pink pen and I'm going to put P because we've got a punctuation error. So there we go, there's my P. And I'm going to put a question mark where it needs to go after I've written my sentence. Would you like some tea? It is a question, so I can tick off punctuation now for my starter. Okay, moving on to the last part of our spag starter for today is grammar. Let's have a look what I would like you to have a look at today. Can you identify the pronoun in this sentence? So a pronoun. What is a pronoun? Well, we know that a noun is the name of an object. What is a pronoun? Well, pronouns are actually much more special than nouns. For example, this pen is a noun, but it's not a pronoun. I am a pronoun, and so are you at home. Because if it's the name of a person or a place, then it is a pronoun. Mrs. Beckett is a pronoun, okay? But Mrs. Beckett's car is only a noun because it hasn't got that name. Sandon Primary Academy is also a pronoun because it's the name of a place. So let's read my sentence behind and let's see if you can spot the pronoun at home. My sentence says, the hotel was located in London. Where is my pronoun? Hopefully you've all got it at home. Where is my pronoun? Remember, a pronoun is the name of a person or a place. Now, I don't think it's naming a person, but I do think that it's naming a place. Where is that place? The hotel was located in London. London is a city, isn't it? It's the name of a city, it's the name of a place. So I can circle London as my pronoun. Wonderful, so well done if you did all of those correctly at home. We finished our spelling, punctuation, and now we've finished our grammar for today. So now we're going to have a look at those questions 4 and 5 that we are looking at today. We're going to see what is our learning question and what is the outcome of today's video. Okay, so my question is, can I identify features of a leaflet? So yesterday we were looking at planning a ride. We are continuing to do that, but I want to have a look at leaflets in a little bit more detail, because that's going to help you when you come on to especially questions 4. Question 4 is split into 2 parts, so you've got 2 questions to answer, and hopefully the information that I give you on here is going to help with that. So before we move on, I want us to have a look at what I've got on the board. So you can see here, I've got parts of a butterfly, a picture of a butterfly with labels around that. So keep that in mind first. Let's have a look at what's on this side. So I've got a title, it says The Frog. Let's read what this says. I saw a little frog. He was cuter than can be. He was sitting on a log, and I'm sure he croaked at me. Now, some of those words rhyme, so that might be something to think about as well. And then underneath, I've got 2 headings. I've got persuasive and I've got informal. And that's where I want to have us a look at persuasive language and informal language. Okay, so when we talk about persuasive language, that's trying to get us to do something. Remember yesterday, we were looking at persuasive writing, persuasive text. They are usually giving your own opinion, but supporting it with some facts so that it puts your opinion into somebody else's head, so they want to do that as well. Okay, it could be that you are writing a persuasive letter to get schools opened. You're going to provide some facts with that, aren't you? But you're going to say, in my opinion, this is what I think, and you're going to give your thoughts and feelings about it. Okay, so thinking about informal. Now, the reason that I've chosen this picture is because informal is often a language that we use when we talk to our family and our friends. And we can do that using text, using FaceTime, or even just in general conversation. For example, I am going to the park would be the formal way of saying that sentence. However, I'm sure some of you at home would say, I'm gonna go to the park. Gonna is informal, okay? So informal language is when we are talking to our friends and it's not always written correctly, grammatically correct. Okay, so let's come back to these 2 that I told you to remember at the start. So here we've got parts of a butterfly and the picture of a butterfly. It's labelled, so I've got wings, so I know where the wings are with some arrows. I've got the legs, they are also labelled. The abdomen, that's labelled. The antennae, which come off their head, they're labelled as well. And this is what we call a diagram. Okay, so a diagram often gives a subject, and then around the outside, it will give us labels of what we are looking at in that picture. So this is what we would call a diagram, and that's how it looks. Okay, let's move on to the second one that we came to. So here, this is what we would call a poem. Now, poems often contain rhyming words, and you can see that I've got rhyming words here. So I've got frog, log. The rhyming words often come at the end of the sentences as well. So I've got frog and log, and then I've got bee and me. So this is going to be a poem about a frog. So when we've got rhyming words, it is often a poem. So behind me, I've got a diagram, I've got a poem. I know that persuasive language is about me, what I think, but I'm trying to put forward my beliefs and my opinions to other people, often including facts. And I've got informal language that we usually use in day-to-day conversations or perhaps on a text message or email. It's not something that we would want to publish. So informal language, we often use it as between family and friends or people that we know. If you were applying for a job interview, you wouldn't be using informal language on an email. You'd want yourself to be grammatically correct, and informal language can often be grammatically incorrect. So when it comes to your booklet and it says that you need to tick which feature you think would be in a leaflet for a hotel, you've got to think, would it be a poem? So they've got a leaflet and it's advertising this hotel. Would they want a poem about the hotel in there? Would they maybe want a diagram of the hotel in there? Would they want to persuade you to come to the hotel? Okay. Or would they be, maybe use informal language? Say, come on down to our hotel. Are they going to make it sound informal? Now you've got to decide at home which one of these features you want to circle. It says to only tick or circle one feature that the leaflet should include. You've got to decide which one of these four you think it's going to include. Now if you think it's a leaflet for a hotel, they are wanting people to come to the hotel. So I want you to tick which one you think is going to be the correct answer. Okay. Moving on to our second part of question 4. Now, when we are advertising and we are doing a leaflet for a hotel, you want to make that hotel sound amazing. Because if you're the hotel owner, you want lots of custom and lots of business coming into your hotel. So you want to make sure your hotel sounds fantastic. Now, underneath question 1 that we've just had a look at, it says to colour in 2 topics that you think that they should include in this leaflet. Now I'm going to just show one as an example that I definitely don't want to put into this leaflet, so this one might help you out. It says the terrible breakfast, and you can see on your sheet there the terrible breakfast. Now would you want to be telling all of the potential customers, people that might want to come into your hotel and stay, that the breakfast is terrible and it tastes disgusting? No, you're not going to want to say that at all, because you want people to come in. You are asking them to come and visit your hotel because your hotel is much better than the others. So that is definitely not going to be one that I'm going to colour in. Now you've got to think at home, out of them 3, which of those 2 do you want to colour in that should be included in the leaflet about the hotel? And you can do that now. Okay then, so now we are on to our final part of the lesson, and we're not going to be talking about leaflets now. We're actually going to be putting what we know into practice. So from yesterday and today, our outcome has been to look at different types of texts and to plan writing. Now at the very bottom you can see that question 5 says that you need to fill in the gaps of this story, and there is a picture which I'm going to hold up to the camera, but you'll be able to see this at home. So you can see that there is a picture there of a young girl with her mum who is going to the cinema. Okay, so at the beginning, Katie and her mum go to the cinema to see a film. So that's my beginning, and that's done there. For section 2, it says that there's a problem. What could the problem be? So you've got to think at home, what might that problem be? Okay, so they've got to the cinema. Have they maybe gone to the wrong film? Is there no seats left? What is the problem? It could be that she's seeing somebody that she doesn't want to see. Should she be at school at the time and she's seen one of her teachers and she knows that her teachers should be at school as well? What's the problem? So you've got to think about what is the problem. Section 3 is going to be where the resolution. So we've done this before when we were building up our story with the Lonely Dragon, haven't we? So we've got our beginning, and then we start to build up, and then there's a problem, which we've said could be any of those 3, or you could think of one at home. Then you've got Katie's idea. This is the resolution. How is the problem going to be solved? So if Katie had seen her teacher and realised that she should have been at school, maybe she dressed up in her mum's jacket and went to the cinema and got a dress-up wig, and she sat and watched it dressed up in disguise so her teacher wouldn't see her. That might be the resolution. It depends what your problem is that you've done at home. And then at the ending, that is your closing statement. Did she have a lovely time at the cinema with her friend, or is she going to have to go back another time? It depends what happened with your problem. So that's what you're going to have a look at home. So you're going to see what is the problem, what is Katie's idea, how does she resolve the problem, and then your closing statement is much shorter. It would only be a couple of sentences because you can see there is less space for you to write there. So hopefully you'll come up with some good storylines as well. Now my challenge for today is, if you want to do this story in greater detail, you can leave this blank. You don't need to fill this out, but you could maybe use your yellow books that we've given out on deliveries, and you can create your own story in more detail. And you can put your beginning, your build up, your problem and resolution in separate paragraphs if you would like to do so. Now, good luck everybody, and remember that you have got to send all of your work into the Year 4 email address. I know we've had lots of emails coming through since we've done our deliveries, and that's great to see, so well done, and keep up all of your fantastic hard work at home.